Hello viewers, my name is Adam,
And I'm Aaron.
and this is Seeking Media Productions. And we're not doing a regular review today, as we've already come to know that Wonder Woman's been out for some time now, and a lot of people are discussing where to do next as far as DCEU is concerned.
Well, considering that we did go watch the film and we watched the other two films that came before it, well, was it 2 or 3?
Let's say we didn't see Suicide Squad in theaters, we waited.
That's true. Well, let's put it this way. The DC cinematic universe was not all out to a pretty decent start. Let's just put it, they were really limping along.
Yeah, and we discussed that in a previous video linked down below. But luckily enough, I was very proud of this movie, Wonder Woman.
Don't get me wrong. We were all scared exactly where this movie was going to end up. I mean, God forbid, this is the first time that we were going to see the incredible character of Wonder Woman brought to the silver screen. And there was so much writing on this film to be great because she really is paving the way for countless other characters like Wonder Woman to be brought forward after her. And thankfully, this movie does a pretty decent job of expressing who she is and why she's important.
But let's get some abnormalities away and let's just say what we just felt about the movie. And from our 6-figure rating scale, I'm proud to say that Wonder Woman is a great movie from start to finish.
That is true.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect film.
No, it's
No,
not.
but I mean, for what it was worth, for what it was trying to do, and all the stakes it held up against it, this movie did a phenomenal job of beating the odds.
I remember walking out of the theater and driving home and thinking about from the past comic movies that came before along in this timeline of comic movies everywhere. I favorably compare it to like among the great Marvel movies from the cinematic universe.
Which aren't that many.
I know. It's like a very few pickings. A lot of them just come up as okay or just like, but I would say that it has, quality-wise, just as much content and finesse as The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And which is, to me, my favorite of the MCU.
Hands down, that is literally their best movie to date.
And it took them a long time.
It is.
Right?
Yep.
And here are mentioned about the MCU. Wonder Woman brings a lot of, or at least highlights what makes the DCU stand out from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, while also being a great movie in its own right.
Let's just put it in this perspective. This movie, the Wonder Woman movie, brought to the cinematic universe of DC what it was lacking, what it needed to have in order for people and fans all over the world to want to come back and watch these films.
And that's pretty much like a good, a great story.
Thank you. And to give attention to character development, but even more importantly, to represent the characters for what they're supposed to be, a beacon of hope.
Yes, they said so much about they want to bring hope to the DCU from the very back in the beginning of Man of Steel with the acknowledging that the S means hope and something. But from that on, it's just been a lot of bleakness and too big trying to keep up with Marvel and it
was trying to be so edgy. You know, trying to make these characters supposed to be cooler than they already were. But my problem was you didn't need to do as much as you did. Yes. You could have literally just, gave it a little bit more realism and then rolled on from there. Superman, unless you didn't, have that costume he had on, you would not recognize that character.
No, you would not.
And then Batman, God forbid. Don't get me wrong, I like the fact that he was able to move like Batman was supposed to, but that's about it.
But I think here we are discussing the negativities of the past 3 DCU films.
Let's try and focus on what this movie actually did right.
And what it means moving forward for the DCEU.
Thank you.
And I think a great place to start this off with is, as a matter of fact, you have to make sure that the story is always right. we get it. This is a cinematic universe, and we're just during the age where every studio now thinking they need to keep up with Marvel and make sure that any big franchise that comes out it
has to
be,
follow the pattern that it's going to be. The next movie is going to bring in the new plot line. No, let's think. You need to think about the movie you're making that right now.
Yes.
You're thinking about the present. What is the storyline in this movie? And then you can think about how it's going to tie into the rest of it. And that should be that's an afterthought at the end of the day. It needs to be a complete story from start to finish. I shouldn't have to go backwards and forwards to try and figure out what happened in that last movie, which is relevant to this movie, which is going to be relevant to the movie that comes in after it.
I think, as a simple way of doing things, as long as the actor is reprising a role in the movie, that's all you technically need.
Yeah.
I think the only so far getting that right balance of make your own story and tying into another previous existing product is the Warner Bros. Monsterverse.
Yeah,
that's so far still trading ground. Ironically enough, that is Warner Bros. Also.
That's true.
But they should probably look at each other and see how it's going on, because
don't get me wrong. Even though I'm staying for the MonsterVerse, I still have my own doubts about it because there's some things going on there. But at least for the most part, they are structuring their universe in a way that is organic, and that's what it really comes down to: an organic, flowing story. It's going to flow the way it needs to flow.
And the concluding aspect to that is to just make sure that the individual movie that you're doing stands alone as its own great product. And that pretty much makes it segue to the next subject issue is staying true to what you're trying to do.
The source material for what you're working with is so beloved. It is precious. It is far more important than trying to infuse other things into it that you think is going to make it more appealing. Technically, if you do your cards right, you really don't have to do that much. Because, I mean, you're talking about characters that everybody knows, that everybody loves.
And you come up with characters that already have a set background.
They
have a history. You have a lot of storylines covering these characters. And I get that some storylines might be way too fantastical for a storytelling sense, but as long as you're staying true to a character, that shouldn't be the issue. And for characters like the DCU, they're rich with mythology.
Oh, God, yes.
And a lot of characters, they are portrayed differently from one another.
That means, in the context of DC, everyone isn't gritty. Everyone's not Batman. Everybody doesn't have to go ahead and second guess themselves. Don't get me wrong. The second guessing yourself is a natural, human emotion. It's a natural human need to do. That's basic. But to the extent that they've been doing it within the movies previously, was doing too much.
Like you making these out to be completely different characters. And all right,
no,
Batman should not be the Punisher.
No,
Superman should not be some emo crime. That's not Superman.
No. Thankfully, they didn't do that for Wonder Woman. They literally stayed true to the core basis, which Wonder Woman is, which is equality in its purest sense.
Yeah.
And that was so refreshing.
And a lot of that also comes from this going back to the roots.
We're
not talking about the age-old trend of everything from the past is new again, because a lot of ways that can go off the rails also. We're talking about what worked thematically or aesthetically. And we're talking about how the original Wonder Woman movie that we just saw, they brought it back to an old school type of storytelling.
Yes, it was so cool.
Yes.
What I've come to agree with that was being thrown around a lot with the other reviews towards this movie was that it made me feel just as or not, I want to say just as, but it was getting to that point. I would definitely say it was working around the point to the same extent that the very first Superman movie, at least not the very, I mean, I'm talking about the,
right.
thank you. It's the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeves. It was so cool because it literally felt as though they just like that movie, they took the character and they respected him.
Yes.
They respected her. Gal Gadot was amazing. And Chris Pine.
Oh yes, and matter of fact, they're probably the best leads in the movie.
Best leads by hands down throughout the entire DC.
Yes, and they were fully fleshed out characters.
Yeah.
Like everybody else in the movie, I'll say that
they served their part.
Yeah.
That was what it was. If they were in the film, they did their part for what they were needed to do within the story.
But they didn't stray too far from character.
That's
which
true.
Is always important.
Mm-hmm.
Like making sure that you stay true to the source material is just basically all you basically need.
Top notch people.
But coming from staying to the true source material and making a great story and practically a great film overall is how you're going to make it memorable in the very end.
Yes.
And I think so much of this has to do with production.
Yes.
Production, even though we coming off as a bit of a minor setback, but there's a reason why we say production in our reviews, because they also help what makes the movie memorable at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And what this movie did, and what the DCU does, or admittedly so, do different from what the Marvel Cinematic Universe does, is have great cinematography.
Yes.
And great music.
Thank you. I can't tell you how annoying it is to notice these days that most of these movies out here, big budget or not, lack a sense of style. Not sense of style, but music style. It's like they're going to just copy and paste, a soundtrack from multiple artists out there. Or if they do decide to do some type of a score, it's very minimum and you barely either hear it or it's just not played enough throughout the whole movie.
Very tone deaf in that regard.
And thankfully, the DC Cinematic Universe spared no expense when it came to creating a score for their movies.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be, particularly Wonder Woman's theme,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be memorable throughout the entire history of film, basically.
It has to be. I mean, not only was it the first time you were hearing something that was going to be contributed to her,
yes.
but they did it actually makes you, feel Wonder Woman.
Yes, it's not just Wonder Woman, it's just the embodiment of power.
Thank you.
That feeling that you can do this too.
And then when you look back at the style of the movie, yes, it still, flows with what was already previously brought to you with Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and Suicide Squad. They do definitely look like they're in the same universe. Suicide Squad a little bit more or less than the others.
Yeah.
But even still, you can still see that these characters do exist within the same universe. But this movie uniquely has its own take on that subject.
Yes.
So, I mean, I love the costume designs. I love the locations that were used in here.
Yes.
I love the choice in how it was shot.
Oh.
It's really great.
A little bit too much slow-mo.
That's true. That did pull me out. That was one of the if I was going to nitpick, then this movie was not even nitpick. I mean, I
get it. Stylized purpose.
Yeah, stylized purpose that was great, but it was just a little way too much slow-mo in this movie. I mean, the actors obviously knew what they were doing. They were able to sell what they were trying to do, but when you were just when everything has to be slowed down.
Yeah, I didn't get the fact that in previous movies they didn't need that.
Exactly. So to have it done in this movie didn't make any much sense. But that was a little nitpick. It did take me out the action for like a couple of times, but for the mass majority, I still enjoyed the action scenes. These action scenes in the movie were still amazing.
Yeah.
And then there was the problem of Ares. I mean, considering
that comes with a lot of these comic book movies in general nowadays.
Yeah.
They don't know the balance yet
of how to you build up your heroes, but you equally have to do the same thing for your villains,
which makes no sense because in DC movies prior to this DCU universe,
they've done
a nice good
Joker. When even movies that aren't necessarily looked upon too favorably now, so considering like Superman Returns. Even though the movie necessarily wasn't all that great, I still loved the hell out of Kevin Spacey's Lex
Gene
Luthor.
Hackman's impression.
Yeah, it was Kevin Spacey portraying a Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, but it was still worked. It's still, I like that Lex Luthor.
Yes, and give or take Jack Nicholson's or Heath Ledger's portrayal of Joker, they still made sure that there was a nice good balance between the hero and the villains and how you flesh out those characters.
I could only hope that they've learned what they've done in this film and they attribute it in the future projects going forward.
That being said, though, we're in the part that Justice League comes out in this movie, and they have chosen the Flash movie in his own solo film. They need to hurry up and make Flashpoint because
you know what? I've been saying that for a while now. Flashpoint is going to be your saving grace because there are so many things that you can literally be fixed in the Flash
Superman universe because they messed up Lex Luthor so bad.
But that's about it.
Just leave Jesse Eisenberg out.
Oh God, please somebody take him out of this. Please. Give me another Lex Luthor. That's the biggest part about all of this. But with that said, we're here for Wonder Woman. We're trying to express what's going to go on. And at the end of the day, you guys did a phenomenal job with Wonder Woman. I hope you learned your lessons within this film and move forward with a positive light.
Yes.
And that's all I can say. It was a great film, and I'm hungry for more.
Well, there you have it. This was our look and hopeful insight into the DC Cinematic Universe. My name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been a Sticky Media Production.
As always, if you like this particular video, like, share, and subscribe. And please hit that little bell down there. If you want more content, we're bringing it to you.
Yes.
So, see you later.
Bye.